Resolution 2023. Constitutional Instrument. The Constitutional Instrument number 8 of 2023. Published 18th April 2023. The Constitution of Sierra Leone, Act number 6 of 1991. Dissolution of the 5th Parliament of the Second Republic of Sierra Leone. Pursuant to subsection 1 of section 85 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone, Act number 6 of 1991, the 5th Parliament of the Second Republic of Sierra Leone stands dissolved with effect from today, Tuesday, 25th of April, in the year of our Lord, 2023. Made this 18th day of April 2023. Signed, the Right Honorable Abbas Cherno Bundu, Speaker of Parliament. The Honorable Vice President, sir, Madam First Lady, the Right Honorable Speaker, my Lord Chief Justice, Minister, Deputy Ministers, Honorable members, Your Excellency members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, praise silence for His Excellency, Your Excellency, Our Excellency, the President.
Honorable Vice President, Honorable former Vice President, Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Madam First Lady, Honorable Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Honorable Chief Justice, members of the Judiciary, Ministers of Government, Honorable Members of Parliament, our revered traditional and local government leaders, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, members of the Security and Intelligence Services, members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans. It is with great I address this august house for the 6th time on this auspicious occasion of the dissolution of the 5th Parliament of the Second Republic of Sierra Leone. We are a nation defined by hope and resilience that is forged in zeal and devotion. Our forefathers spread knowledge and truth, and mighty was the nation they led. Their struggle for independence steered our great nation into the democracy that we all freely enjoy today. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, death is indeed the inevitable fate of all destinies, and only the heart that mourns the sorrow of parting. Over the last 5 years, we have sadly lost some of our compatriots in our collective quest to build a prosperous nation. So before we proceed, may I humbly ask this August gathering to rise for a moment of silent prayers for the honorable members of Parliament who have transitioned to the afterlife. Honorable Mamadou Eskimo Mansare, Honorable Almami O. Kamara, Honorable Samuel Genawai Panda, Honorable Alicius Bokare and Sumana, Honorable Ahmed Samba Toure, and Honorable PC Kandabus Sise II. May the Almighty God reward them for their loyal service to our great nation, and may their souls and the souls of all the faithful departed through the mercy of God rest in perfect peace. Amen. Let's sit down, please. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank this Parliament for the excellent service to our great nation over the last 5 years. As President of the Republic, I thank you all immensely for working closely with my government. Even with a hung Parliament, we have repealed, amended, and enacted over 70 laws. This is as commendable as it is unprecedented in our nation's history. I'm truly humbled and awed of this magnificent institution that is the cornerstone of our democracy. As the heartbeat of our nation, Parliament embodies the values and aspirations of our people, ensuring that their voices are heard and their interests are represented. It is a testament to the enduring spirit of democracy that we gather here today in this noble house, charged with the solemn duty of overseeing the actions of the executive and delivering on the dividends of democracy to our fellow citizens. Though no relationship is perfect, I firmly believe in the pivotal role of Parliament in upholding the tenets of democracy and ensuring good governance prevails. In my experience working with Parliament has been a defining moment in my career, especially this Parliament. I've been privileged to witness firsthand the unyielding dedication you bring to your work, the unwavering commitment to serve the people, and the tireless pursuit of excellence, though sometimes noisy. Through your leadership, our legislative dreams have been brought to fruition. For that, I am eternally grateful. As we stand at the cusp of a new era, beset by challenges and uncertainties, it is all the more important and imperative that we continue to hold fast to the principles that define us as a nation. Let us continue to work together in the spirit of unity and cooperation to build a future characterized by progress, justice, and prosperity for all. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, you have shown us that as Sierra Leoneans, we come from every part of our great nation and hold diverse views as we must. We may not always get along, but by the words of our own national pledge, we must vow to serve Sierra Leone faithfully at all times, promise to defend her honor and good name, always work for her unity, peace, freedom, and prosperity, and put her interest above all else. Mr. Speaker, members, 5 years ago, under my leadership, the Sierra Leone People's Party answered the noble call to service by our nation's great people. We chose the path less traveled by committing to build the next generation instead of focusing on the next election. If you will recall, at the start of this SAPP administration 5 years ago, I pledged to lead a government that would work tirelessly to the lives of our fellow citizens. We promised to scale up investment and implement innovative principles, policies to transform our nation's human capital and physical infrastructure. Since then, we've done exactly what we said we would. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, when I presented our vision for a new direction national development agenda in 2018, none of us, and I mean none of us, could have predicted the unprecedented global events and economic upheavals of the last 3 years. The global context remains challenging as we work to keep our manifesto promises, because when we make promises, we keep them. Like many other countries, Sierra Leone has been hit by the negative impact of COVID-19 pandemic and the inflationary effect of the Ukraine-Russia conflict on global food supply Mr. Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, my government also inherited a dire national economic situation in 2018. My government also inherited a dire national economic situation in 2018, characterized by elevated debt levels, poor public financial management, declining GDP growth rate, sharply rising inflation, and high levels of corruption. We were not intimidated. From the beginning, we emphasized the urgency of implementing wide sweeping changes to put the country on a new path, positive trajectory. Within the context of our proactive new direction transformation agenda set out in our manifesto, my government has thus implemented a range of essential policy interventions and made numerous bold new investments over the past 5 years. These have led to positive changes in several key sectors, which I will highlight today. The impact of our policies are noted clearly in available monitoring data. they are also, even more importantly, fed by our fellow citizens. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I wish to depart from the usual format of presidential address to Parliament, keeping it more concise today. I will concentrate on human capital development as a driver for socio-economic growth, highlighting the achievements in key sectors, including education, health, agriculture. Infrastructure, economy, mining, and sport. I will also highlight key achievements in cross-cutting areas, including women's and youth empowerment, anti-corruption, I am also mindful of the profound importance of human capital development in our quest for sustainable socio-economic transformation. For as long as our nation endures, the strength and the resilience of our people will be the best which we build our future. The true measure of a nation's greatness is not in the wealth of its resources, but in the wealth of its people. And so, we must continue to invest in our citizens, their skills, and their well-being. We must empower them to be the architects of their own destinies, chart their own course through the turbulent waters of life, and seize the opportunities that abound in a world constantly in a state of flux. As we focus on these key sectors, please note that regarding other issues, a more comprehensive report on the significant progress made by my government amidst serious global headwinds will be laid here in Parliament. Yes. I will start with investing in people, education. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, developing our nation's human capital through free quality education program has been the utmost priority of my administration. In the words of the former president of Malawi, Dr. Joyce Banda, the seeds of success in any nation on earth are best planted in women and children. Let me say this again. The seeds of success in every nation on earth are best planted in women and children. Development and success of Sierra Leone depends on the seeds of education we plant in our children now. In the past 5 years, my government has invested heavily in our young and dynamic population as we recognize that our most substantial asset is our human resources. Amid the unprecedented global headwinds causing economic disruption since 2020, our investment in education increased from under 15% in 2018 to 22% of our annual budgetary allocation. And that is meant to support primary, secondary, higher technical and vocational education and training. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, it is deeply satisfying and encouraging to witness firsthand the positive impact of our free quality education initiative on citizens. Permit me Permit me to recount the testimonies that have stayed with me of a dynamic young girl called Aminata Litombo from Kolia village, Bakatido in Sudan. Ladies and gentlemen, before the advent of this administration, you can sit down now, please. Lady. Before the advent of the free quality education, courtesy of the Sierra Leone People's Party, Aminata used to walk for more than 4 miles from her village to attend school. Unfortunately, she had to drop out of school at the age of 15 because her parents could no longer pay for her. This girl, filled with latent potential, was relegated to helping her own parents do subsistence farming to support the family for nearly 2 years. Then came in the Sierra Leone People's Party. Fortunately, her passion for getting an education was rekindled when she heard about the administration's free quality education. And you know what she did? She re-enrolled at another school in 2020. And following her return, this brilliant young girl, at the age of 18, achieved the best Becker result in Pujol district. Because of her outstanding performance, and because we recognize performance, my government selected her among other high-performing school children and youth to participate in the Transforming Education Summit at the United Nations. And at that meeting, I co-chaired with the UN Secretary General in September 2022. This was her first time traveling out of Pujol district. But she didn't get everything because the new airport was not yet there. Just imagine what a life-transforming moment it was for Aminata to be among global leaders, policymakers, and fellow youth, rethinking innovative ways to transform education, not only in Sierra Leone, but in the world. Well, Aminata is currently in Freetown, excelling in her secondary school education and pursuing a valid dream of being an educated woman. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, Aminata's experience is just one example of the success of this government's radical inclusion strategy on the field of education, which has also caught the attention of the international community. The impact and success of Sierra Leone's new transformational education policy have been lauded globally and solidified the nation's position as a champion of education. Our global standing was highlighted when I was unanimously appointed to co-chair the United Nations. Unanimously appointed to co-chair the UNESCO High-Level Steering Committee on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 4 to ensure inclusive, equitable, quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Furthermore, Sierra Leone's global standing for promoting universal access to education was highlighted when I co-chaired the Global Transforming Education Summit with the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres in 2022 and made one of the global champions for foundational learning. So our 2022-2026 partnership compact with the Global Partnership for Education. Honorable members of Parliament, I am one of 5 leaders in the world to serve as champion for education. And it will interest you to know that I am the only leader in Africa chosen to be. in our beautiful country. But let me assure Sierra Leoneans, however, that our policy's impact on young people's lives will always be the most important to me and to my government. As the nation's leader, my gratitude for being accorded the opportunity of education by my uneducated mother, a visionary of our time, drives my steadfast commitment to implement our administration's bold agenda for education. After 5 years of hard work, we now have a solid foundation from which to scale up and scale up we must. In a relatively short time, we have galvanized a significant support from partners and judiciously use all domestic resources to increase education funding to 4.1 trillion over the past 5 years. Our resource mobilization effort has provided over $200 million from the education sector since 2018. This investment has enabled us to support over 80% of 80% of schools with government subsidies. At the same time, we have added around 1 million new learners and recruited over 300 education monitoring officers from 13 officers in 2018. Our investment has also improved learning outcomes with over 10 million books and teaching and learning materials supplied to learners. Additionally, we have provided school feeding for over 600,000 learners, projected to 800,000 by the extension to the western area. My administration has increased teachers' salaries through the 5 years, including an increase of 10% for junior teachers in 2019. Our transportation allowance, a 30% increase, salary increase in 2020 for all teachers, and 45% increase in teacher salary for the next 3 years, 2023 to 2025 academic year, and an increase in staff wages by 75% of tertiary education institutions. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, I'm also pleased to highlight the positive changes in the gender dimension of education in Sierra Leone since I assumed office. The data is there for all to see. We have achieved gender parity in schools. Girls have higher retention and pass rate in all national transition exams. More girls are now studying STEM disciplines. And today they have higher transition rates into tertiary and vocational institutions. In line with our long-term vision to train more women, engineers, scientists, and innovators, we have also implemented a policy that funds free quality education from primary school through university for all girls studying STEM disciplines. Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, the Hands of Our Girls campaign championed by the First Lady has contributed to 37%. Championed by the First Lady has contributed to 37% increase in girls in school since 2018. Teenage pregnancy has dropped by 33% to 62,580. in 2022. Early marriage figures have also dropped dramatically because these guys are no longer allowed to give our children in, the hands of our children in marriage. That's why they left. Children now have the highest rate of girls completing primary school education in the entire West African sub-region. We are and we should be very proud of our girls. They are future leaders of this nation in various fields including medicine, engineering, and politics. They are also among the future mothers of this country. Ensuring they receive the best possible education is a national priority investment. We must continue to do all we can to equip our girls with essential skills to thrive in the 21st century and to nurture their potential as we scale up the investment in education of all our children. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, within the new millenniums involving employment and business creation needs, basic and senior secondary level reforms have been matched with extensive reforms and investment in tertiary and vocational education. An amended Universities Act has removed me and political control over tertiary education and created three new technical universities: Maitre Magai Teachers Technical University, Eastern Technical University, and the Cologne University of Science. That university, as I speak, is under construction, not a fake promise. More students benefit from grants in aid. My government launched the Student Loan Scheme for tertiary institutions, a manifesto commitment to opening up more technical and higher education access. Nearly a dozen technical and vocational training centers have been established or rehabilitated and are now operational in all regions of this country. We continue to work with partners to invest heavily in technical skills programs across industry to support industrialization and meet the needs of our growing economy. Modernizing the health care. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, improving the health of this nation is another primary focus of my government's human capital development agenda. It should be no surprise then that our investments in healthcare are unprecedented. My government has increased the annual budgetary allocation to healthcare from 6% in 2018 to 11.6% in 2021. We have constructed or rehabilitated 200 more health care facilities, supported specialist training of our doctors in-country, and recruited and trained over 5,000 more pin-coded staff and an additional 8,700 community health workers recruited, which is a 50% increase since 2018. Additionally, we rolled out the Hospital on Wheels project that serves over 20,000 patients in 12 districts and installed 4 dialysis stations for treating over 700 patients. We introduced cervical cancer screening at 8 health facilities. The timely availability of essential drugs has improved by 90%. Free HPV vaccines have been provided for nearly 200,000 girls, and hundreds of solar refrigerators are now available nationwide for vaccine storage. Due to these and many more investments in healthcare, we have made great progress on many health indicators in the last 5 years. As we focus on these key sectors, please note that regarding other issues, a more comprehensive report on the significant progress made by my government amidst serious global headwinds will be laid here in Parliament. Yes. I will start with investing in people, education. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, developing our nation's human capital through free quality education program has been the utmost priority of my administration. In the words of the former president of Malawi, Dr. Joyce Banda, the seeds of success in any nation on earth are best planted in women and children. Let me say this again. The seeds of success in every nation on earth are best planted in women and children. The sustainable development and success of Sierra Leone depends on the seeds of education we plant in our children now. In the past 5 years, my government has invested heavily in our young and dynamic population as we recognize that our most substantial asset is our human resources. Amid the unprecedented global headwinds causing economic disruption since 2020, our investment in education increased from under 15% in 2018 to 22% of our annual budgetary allocation. And that is meant to support primary, secondary, higher technical and vocational education and training. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, it is deeply satisfying and encouraging to witness firsthand the positive impact of our free quality education initiative on citizens. Permit me to recount the testimonies that have stayed with me of a dynamic young girl called Aminata Litombo from Kolia village, Bakatizo. Ladies and gentlemen, before the advent of this administration, you can sit down now, please. Lady. Before the advent of the free quality education, courtesy of the Sierra Leone People's Party, Aminata used to walk for more than 4 miles from her village to attend school. Unfortunately, she had to drop out of school at the age of 15 because her parents could no longer pay for her. This girl, filled with latent potential, was relegated to helping her own parents do subsistence farming to support the family for nearly 2 years. Then came in the Sierra Leone People's Party. Fortunately for her passion, for getting an education was rekindled when she heard about the administration's free quality education. And you know what she did? She re-enrolled at another school in 2020. And following her return, this brilliant young girl, at the age of 18, achieved the best Becker result in Pujol district. Because of her outstanding performance, and because we recognize performance, my government selected her among other high-performing school children and youth to participate in the Transforming Education Summit at the United Nations. And at that meeting, I co-chaired with the UN Secretary General in September 2022. This was her first time traveling out of Pujol district. But she didn't get everything because the new airport was not yet there. Just imagine what a life-transforming moment it was for Aminata to be among global leaders, policymakers, and fellow youth, rethinking innovative ways to transform education, not only in Sierra Leone, but in the world. Well, Aminata is currently in Freetown, excelling in her secondary school education and pursuing her valid dream of being an educated woman. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, Aminata's experience is just one example of the success of this government's radical inclusion strategy in the field of education, which has also caught the attention of the international community. The impact and success of Sierra Leone's new transformational education policy have been lauded globally and solidified the nation's position as a champion of education. Our global standing was highlighted when I was unanimously appointed to co-chair the United Nations. Unanimously appointed to co-chair the UNESCO High-Level Steering Committee on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 4 to ensure inclusive, equitable, quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Furthermore, Sierra Leone's global standing for promoting universal access to education was highlighted when I co-chaired the Global Transforming Education Summit with the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres in 2022 and made one of the global champions for foundational learning. So our 2022-2026 partnership compact with the Global Partnership for Education. Honorable members of Parliament, I am one of 5 leaders in the world to serve as champion for education. I am the only leader in Africa chosen to be.
that our policy's impact on young people's lives will always be the most important
to me and to my government. As the nation's leader, my gratitude for being accorded the opportunity of education by my uneducated mother, a visionary of our time, drives my steadfast commitment to implement our administration's bold agenda for education. After 5 years of hard work, we now have a solid foundation from which to scale up we must. In a relatively short time, we have galvanized a significant support from partners and judiciously use all domestic resources to increase education funding to 4.1 trillion over the past 5 years. Our resource mobilization effort has provided over $200 million from the education sector since 2018. This investment has enabled us to support over 80% of 80% of schools with government subsidies. At the same time, we have added around 1 million new learners and recruited over 300 education monitoring officers from 13 officers in 2018. Our investment has also improved learning outcomes with over 10 million books and teaching and learning materials supplied to learners. Additionally, we have provided school feeding for over 600,000 learners, projected to 800,000 by the extension to the western area. My administration has increased teachers' salaries through the 5 years, including an increase of 10% for junior teachers in 2019. Our transportation allowance, a 30% increase, salary increase in 2020 for all teachers, and 45% increase in teacher salary for the next 3 years, 2023 to 2025 academic year, and an increase in staff wages by 75% of tertiary education institutions. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, I'm also pleased to highlight the positive changes in the gender dimension of education in Sierra Leone since I assumed office. The data is there for all to see. We have achieved gender parity in schools. Girls have higher retention and pass rate in all national transition exams. More girls are now studying STEM disciplines, and today they have higher transition rates into tertiary and vocational institutions. In line with our long-term vision to train more women, engineers, doctors, scientists, and innovators, we have also implemented a policy that funds free quality education from primary school through university for all girls studying STEM disciplines. Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, the Hands of Our Girls campaign champion by the First Lady has contributed to 37%. Championed by the First Lady has contributed to 37% increase in girls in school since 2018. Teenage pregnancy has dropped by 33% from 62,580 to 41,943 in 2022. Our numeric figures have also dropped dramatically because these guys are no longer allowed to get to give our children, the hands of our children in marriage. That's why they left. Children now have the highest rate of girls completing primary school education in the entire West African sub-region. We are and we should be very proud of our girls. They are future leaders of this nation in various fields, including medicine, engineering, and politics. They are also among the future mothers of this country. Ensuring they receive the best possible education is a national priority investment. We must continue to do all we can to equip our girls with essential skills to thrive in the 21st century and to nurture their potential as we scale up the investment in education of all our children. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, within the new millenniums involving employment and business creation needs, basic and senior secondary level reforms have been matched with extensive reforms and investment in tertiary and vocational education. An amended Universities Act has removed me and political control over tertiary education and created three new technical universities: Maitre Magai Teachers Technical University, Eastern Technical University, and the Cologne University of Science. That university, as I speak, is under construction, not a fake promise. More students benefit from grants in aid. My government launched the Student Loan Scheme for tertiary institutions, a manifesto commitment to opening up more technical and higher education access. Nearly a dozen technical and vocational training centers have been established or rehabilitated and are now operational in all regions of this country. We continue to work with partners to invest heavily in technical skills programs across industry to support industrialization and meet the needs of our growing economy. Modernizing the health care. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, improving the health of this nation is another primary focus of my government's human capital development agenda. It should be no surprise then that our investments in healthcare are unprecedented. My government has increased the annual budgetary allocation to healthcare from 6% in 2018 to 11.6% in 2021. We have constructed or rehabilitated 200 more health care facilities, supported specialist training of our doctors in-country, and recruited and trained over 5,000 more pin-coded staff and an additional 8,700 community health workers recruited, which is a 50% increase since 2018. Additionally, we rolled out the Hospital on Wheels project that serves over 20,000 patients in 12 districts and installed 4 dialysis stations for treating over 700 patients. We introduced cervical cancer screening at 8 health facilities. The timely availability of essential drugs has improved by 90%. Free HPV vaccines have been provided for nearly 200,000 girls, and hundreds of solar refrigerators are now available nationwide for vaccine storage. Due to these and many more investments in healthcare, we have made great progress on many health indicators in the last 5 years. Within our region, Sierra Leone is performing well on several key indicators. Infant and maternal mortality have been reduced to far lower than the West African average. Children's immunization rates are among the highest in Africa. Stunting rates among children under 5 are lower than the average African average. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, international partners have applauded my government's pandemic preparedness and response because it was well structured, effective, and informed by science. Our policy choices and actions also minimized fatalities, one of the lowest in Africa, and the social impact of the pandemic on the poorest and the most vulnerable of our citizens. The social protection and safety nets we have implemented have continued supporting our most vulnerable citizens throughout the crisis through targeted cash transfers for livelihood sustenance. Our government secured additional $6 million from the World Bank for the Social Safety Net project. This additional financing enabled the government to expand the coverage of cash transfers implemented by the National Commission from 35,000 to 100,000 extremely poor households. The Social Safety Net project has established the key building blocks for a basic national safety network system in Sierra Leone. Due to the successful implementation of the 30 million Social Safety project, which ends in June of this year, my government has secured another World Bank funding of 40 million to United States. The productive social safety net and youth empowerment project focuses on improving access to social safety nets and income-generating opportunities for youth in urban and rural areas. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we have also registered some of the highest COVID-19 vaccination rates in the sub-region. Over 3.6 million citizens, that is 73%, are fully vaccinated, with 87.6 having received at least one dose of the vaccine. Agriculture. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the steep rise in global food prices due to COVID-19 pandemic disruptions and the Ukraine-Russia war continues to impact consumer household budgets everywhere. My government is particularly concerned by the increase in food insecurity that so many of our fellow citizens face. Investing more smartly in agriculture sector thus remains a core priority to address this challenge. As Sierra Leoneans, we are blessed with fertile land and with great potential to produce more than enough food to meet our domestic needs. My working visit to Vietnam last year was an eye-opener that provided a vivid example of the challenge and opportunities before us. The agricultural similarities between our two nations are clear, so it is the stark contrast of farming outcomes. Vietnam and Sierra Leone have more than 5 million hectares of arable land and receive more than 5 months of heavy rainfall. Vietnam uses that to produce 44 million metric tons of rice and is net rice exporter. Here in Sierra Leone, we produce less than 1 million metric tons of rice, and we are net importers, mainly due to our unsustainable small-scale subsistence farming methods. This must change. We must put more seeds into our fertile soil and raise more livestock and poultry. Only by improving our local food production can we cushion the effects of global disruptions in our food prices, ensure food self-sufficiency, and transform our economy. Over the last 5 years, my government has implemented a policy shift in agriculture to drive this change. Using the public-private partnership model, we established a 10 million agriculture credit facility to de-risk and support private sector agricultural investment. We have provided more seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, and other agricultural inputs over 12,000 farmers annually through the e-voucher system to boost food production. Also, we have established mechanized services, including 15 machine rigs, with over 400 tractors and power tillers nationwide. We have also reviewed and revamped the Sierra Leone Agricultural Research Act to address food insecurity. Following the productive mission at the Dakar 2 Summit on Food Sovereignty and Resilience convened by the African Development Bank, our nation is now actively engaged with the bank to develop an agricultural impact compact for over $500 million to improve agricultural productivity and food security. Due to this agricultural transformation policy shift and these investments, there is now more private sector activity in rice and value chains. This has resulted in a 21% increase in rice production, greater engagement of rural youth and women in agriculture business, and a 35% reduction in input distribution. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, agriculture remains the predominant sector of our economy, accounting for an average of 51% of our GDP over the last decade and employs approximately 65% of labor force, but mainly subsistence farming. While our great nation possesses high agricultural potential, agriculture yields and labor productivity remains extremely low, partly due to huge infrastructure bottlenecks and financing gaps. To feed our people, we must transition from being a net food importer to developing an agro-industrial zone in our rural areas to becoming net exporters of primary agricultural commodities. My SLPB administration's future aspiration to take advantage of our nation's soil wealth, grow agriculture as a business in climate-smart ways, and leverage it as a fundamental source of job and wealth creation for national prosperity. This will inspire citizens, especially the youth, to see agriculture as a profitable and sustainable business. Building more resilient and inclusive economy. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, these transformational investments and impactful results since 2018 that I highlighted so far have been significantly enabled by our government's efforts to improve the nation's economy and debt management as soon as we assumed office. Our immediate reforms produced positive outcomes until the COVID-19 pandemic struck. GDP growth rate from 3.7% in 2018 went to 5.5% by 2019. Revenue generation surpassed 15% of GDP annually. We reduced the debt burden and brought inflation down to single digits. We have since been readmitted to IMF Extended Credit Facility Program. During the APC time, we were excluded. We have diversified and broadened the economic base. We have diversified and broadened the economic base by boosting mining, agriculture, fisheries, tourism, SMEs, and manufacturing productivity. Made in Sierra Leone vegetable oil, soap, fruit juices, coffee, chocolate, plastics now exist. These essential products are consumed locally and exported to sub-regional and other markets. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I'm acutely aware of the difficulties we face as we navigate through the stormy waters of supply chain disruptions, rising shipping costs, and skyrocketing food and fuel prices. These global economic challenges have put immense pressure on our local economies, causing inflationary pressures that have hit the poorest members of our society the hardest. But in the face of these daunting obstacles, we must not falter. Instead, we must rise to the occasion and show the world the true strength of Sierra Leone. As we stand together in solidarity and resilience, knowing that our perseverance and hard work will ultimately lead us to a brighter future, let us draw the strength from our shared history and culture as we work towards a more prosperous and equitable future for all. The road ahead may be difficult, but I'm confident that with determination, grit, and a steadfast commitment to our values, we will overcome these challenges and emerge stronger and more resilient than ever before. To cushion the impact of these global headwinds, my government's Quick Action Economic Response Program has been put in place, providing, among other things, a special credit facility through the Bank of Sierra Leone with 2 tranches of 50 million United States dollars each during the COVID-19 pandemic to support the importation of essential commodities. 2, another food facility of 50 million during the ongoing Ukraine-Russia crisis to support the importation of rice, flour, sugar, and many more. 3, a 36 million reserve fuel facility for fuel importation. Furthermore, to avoid the shortage of essential commodities and stabilize prices, my government has maintained zero import duty and GST on imported rice, deferred taxes on the importation of essential supplies during the COVID-19 pandemic, and reduced taxes on certain essential items, including cement and iron rods. Beyond that, we have also prioritized local food and agriculture production, even securing a 1.8 million grant from the ADB under the African Emergency Food Production Facility to support farmers with agriculture inputs. Over 30,000 hectares of rice have been cultivated, and there was a 21% increase in production between 2021 and 2022. I'm happy to report that we did not import rice seeds for the first time in decades for the year 2021-2022 planting season. Despite limited development assistance and investment finance inflows due to the continuing global economic downturns, we have maintained strong relationships with our development partners, kept existing businesses, and attracted additional investors, especially in mining, light manufacturing, and the construction sectors. Youth job creation schemes and access to innovative financing have boosted overall job figures. Salaries and pensions have been increased to keep in step with living costs. Teacher salaries have received between 10 to 45% increase since 2018. Entrepreneurship promotion initiatives have been implemented, particularly for women and youth, introducing a digital biometric ID card and modest reforms in the financial services sector means more financial inclusion and access to credit, especially for women and young people. According to several objective global indicators, my government has achieved the highest marks for gender in the economy and access to credit than any other of its predecessors. With this reform-minded thrust, I intend to do even more in my second term. I promise more goodies for the second time. Honorable members, I'm pleased to highlight that we have been careful in borrowing and spending. It is worth noting that the debt my administration is servicing, we are not contracted only in the past 5 years, but also debts that were inherited from the previous APC administration. For the last 5 years, this administration has spent, money on urgent things to build schools, roads, bridges, to educate our children and train our young people, and to equip them to face a competitive world and develop and strengthen our healthcare system in the face of a deadly pandemic. We have managed public resources judiciously and not overborrowed or spent recklessly as before. Indeed, the evidence of how we have utilized public funds to improve our society is nationwide. Our inclusive New Direction transformation agenda has included every district and province. Mr. Speaker, there is still an enormous task ahead of to build more schools, tertiary institutions, and healthcare facilities, and equip them with modern technology and equipment. There is considerable work to be done to turn our rural areas from zones of economic misery to economic prosperity through agriculture. There is more to do to light up and to power remote villages and to give them access to potable water, among many other things. Mr. Speaker, I will not rest in my effort to build a more inclusive and resilient economy. Tourism. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my government's decision to prioritize tourism as a key policy for economic diversification, job creation, and growth is yielding dividends. Just last month, Mr. Speaker, the reputable Time magazine, the world's greatest places of 2023, ranked Freetown Peninsula as Africa's new coastal hub and one of the 50 extraordinary destinations to explore. Highlighting, and I quote, with diverse wildlife, world-class surfing waves, vibrant coastal capital of Freetown, a brand new airport, equality and women empowerment. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, last year in this August House, I appealed passionately to honorable members who believe in an inclusive and equal future for all Sierra Leoneans to vote in favor of the gender equality and women empowerment bill. I argued then that the future and fortunes of our great nation are tied to equal and unfettered representation and participation of women in all facets of our national life, governance, and development. I wholeheartedly thank this Parliament for passing this landmark Dewey Act in November 2022. I have proudly signed this into law on the 19th January this year. The Dewey Act includes provision to promote women's participation in politics and decision-making processes. At least 30% representation of women in elected and appointed positions in all aspects of society. Thank you. The Giving Up operations equal pay for equal work, address gender-based violence, and mainstream gender into national making among many others. My pledge to all women of our great nation is that this administration will fully apply, even exceed and monitor the full implementation of all provisions of the Dewey Act. There will be no difference in the gender balance in the next parliament as prescribed by the landmark law legislation. Notably, we will have more women members of parliament of the fact that women have been historically disadvantaged and discouraged from participating in local and national politics. My party, the Sierra Leone People's Party, the Talk and Do Party, has made and social barriers for women who wish to participate in local and national control of corruption. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, our 2018 manifesto identified corruption as an existential threat. With our committed leadership, a comprehensive national anti-corruption strategy, and policy and legislative reforms, every reputable international indicator over the last 5 consecutive years have scored Sierra Leone as outstanding in its effort at controlling corruption. We have sustained progression in transparency, International Corruption Perception Index from 130 in 2018 to 110 in 2022. A 20-place move in just 4 years. We are consistently going behind during the previous regime. There have been record convictions and billions of lives in non-competitive basis. Peer nations have studied and adopted our successful model for preventing and fighting corruption. As a result of this success, we have been rewarded with eligibility for the compact worth hundreds of millions of United States dollars from the millennium. As a result of this notable success, we have been rewarded with eligibility for compact worth hundreds of millions of United States dollars from the Millennium Challenge Corporation, MCC, of the United States of America government. Now I come to mining sector. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I'm pleased to report positive trends in the extractive industries, one of the most significant sectors of our economy. Since 2018, there has been a substantial increase in revenue from mining, and over 6,000 more Sierra Leoneans have been hired by mining companies. Even at the height of COVID-19 pandemic, we worked with investors to keep the mines open. Today, more mining companies are operational than in 2018, operating in compliance with our regulations. At the same time, small-scale and lithium mining operators are now as protected as large-scale operators. With the new Mines and Minerals Development Act 2022, many communities in mining areas are also experiencing more direct benefit from extractive sector today than ever before. Taxes and other community development agreement payments have increased tenfold from 0.01% to 1%. 20% of royalties now go back to the mining communities. CDA funds are used towards the sustainable development of the mining communities, including transformational infrastructures such as schools, healthcare centers, water, roads that will remain beyond the lifespan of the mining operations in those areas. Just last month alone, on March the 30th, I handed over a check of 20 billion euros. In Chankoni district, where Leone was made a book of this. Before this time, they were promised 0.01% and they are giving nothing. To the mining communities. It is anticipated that was in Kotlapa district. And it is anticipated that Marampa Mines Limited will soon make a CDA payment of over 30 billion this week. Communities in Kotlapa district. And the previous government nothing to them. Today, transparency and accountability and the mining sector are also at an all-time high, with 3 of them achieving a remarkable high implementation score of 87.5% from the extractive industries transparency initiative. Now I come to the energy sector. Mr. Speaker, honorable members. My government continues to work hard to provide access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy in line with UN. There are challenges. The government has had to pay substantial subsidies to the sector to keep tariffs lower for our citizens, especially because of the sudden hike in generation costs. The government provided subsidies to EDSA amounting to 508.5 billion euros at September 2020. investors here for car power and payment for imported power under the CNSG of electricity by businesses and businesses cost billions of leones annually. Over the past 5 years, and at great cost to the government, in replacements, there have been over 1 incident of gutted transformers, damaged cables, and even electricity poles have been set on fire. We have replaced and rehabilitated assets in line with our mission to provide reliable and affordable electricity to Sierra Leone. The Sierra Leone People's Party manifesto, we have doubled assets from 16% to 10% 5 years. We have worked with development partners and the private sector to implement solutions and create a good energy mix. Renewable energy use has grown from less than 35% in 2018 to over 75% in 2022. Sierra Leone's energy is being transformed before our eyes at a fast pace. The government has worked with partners to extend renewable and clean off-grid electricity to 97 towns and villages in all of the country. One on-grid extension from Farigu to Kabbalah, to Bumpe to Kwaidu, and other possibilities. The rehabilitation of the western area distribution network is underway, and peri-urban areas of Freetown are now connected to the grid. Electricity distribution infrastructure for all district headquarter towns is being installed. The implementation of the NCC will see a doubling of generation and distribution capacity, as well as the availability of electricity across economic growth corridors. Next is investing in hard infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, with planning and our development partners, my government has rehabilitated and expanded more economic structure in 5 years than our predecessors. In keeping with our commitment to make Sierra Leone competitive, to a competitive touristic destination and a hub for aviation activities in the sub-region, from more than Freetown International Airport in Leone. More than Freetown International Airport at Leone, which might be called the Julius Malabia International Airport. question the newest and hard infrastructure and architecturally one of the best in the sub-region. It is fully, I count that it's certified, it has quality, its facilities are expansive and has a 1.5 megawatt solar power city. The new area attract and accommodate large modern carriers and huge travelers related infrastructure investments, including a convention center and an international standard hotel. If we also create employment opportunities, skills transfer opportunities for nationals, I'm pleased that even the most ardent of critics, when he came back from America last week, used the airport and agreed that this infrastructure investment is timely and necessary. The state-of-the-art Freedom International Airport signals a need for open skies and economic activities, making Sierra Leone a more attractive destination for tourists and investors. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Members, I'm pleased to report that my government, working with the People's Republic of China, has built and commissioned the first Australian Foreign Service Academy, a state-of-the-art academy of excellence for training foreign service practitioners in Sierra Leone and across the sub-region. The Foreign Academy will enable us to support our effort to our nation's foreign policy, strengthening cooperation with regional and international partners. Honorable members, I'm proud of our work, especially in the road sector. My government, working with partners, has completed the dual carriage highway, 4 lanes, with 3 lines medians from Freetown to Maisiaka. The route between Bo and Banajuma, 46 kilometers, and the Banajuma MRU road, 105 meters, and 3 bridges, a highway from Moyamba Junction to Moyamba, and 4 modern bridges. The Pendemuka Island, which is 28 kilometers, and the hill station to region, completed with modern lighting. The long is side bypass road have been completed and will soon be commissioned. Mr. Honorable Members, we funded or undertaking graveling road works and cost in 1,800 kilometers of roads across the opening up remote communities and productive agricultural areas. More farmers can now bring their products to the market, giving citizens easy access to public services. Given dictatorial spikes of petroleum products, and because of the downstream petroleum chain, thousands of jobs, my government commissioned storage tanks and marketing companies investing in more storage facilities. Mr. Speaker, SFPB administration has in office. We have completed several virtually abandoned multi-million public building projects and constructed new ones. These include the Commission headquarters building. Highly rated for your moves, you cannot finish the anti-corruption building. National Communication Authority, the Cargo Inspection Building at Queen Elizabeth II K, the Custom builds Northwestern Headquarters Office of the National Social Security Trust, and the multi-story Petroleum Directorate building. Investing in ICT infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, business, innovators, the sector and government, among others, depend on it for their daily operations. With our completion of the national fiber optic backbone and the issuing of licenses, penetration has been expanded for all districts, headquarter towns, and other key locations. Many new opportunities to develop the digital economy in Syria. The cybersecurity and crime act by this House to address cybercrime and protect criminals. My government is implementing a $50 million World Bank funded digitalization project to support digital skills, enhance e-governance, and promote cybersecurity in this country. Technology moves fast and we need to risk falling behind. I've therefore established a rate of science, technology, and innovation in the Office of the President to serve both as an innovation hub and to develop technology solutions deployed to scale to address governance, sector, and public service needs. DSTI has developed various solutions, including surveillance, risk communication, and travel advisories. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, towards a more peaceful, safe, inclusive, representative, and right-based democracy. Today, we live where we enjoy complete freedom of expression, association, assembly, religion, and political affiliation. Parliament has abolished penalty. The peace, the intolerance has been supported. The 3 journalists, among others. In the of administration, we had no political prisoner or journalists in prison. We have opened up open dialogue. We have worked closely and consistently with civil society organizations, made the political calendar more predictable by announcing democratic elections over a year in advance, and enacted progressive legislation for more political, especially to facilitate the participation and the representation of women. Achievements are captured in objective and international assessment indicators. The youth, investing in youth. Mr. Speaker, on youth economic empowerment through gainful employment and entrepreneurship is a critical priority of administration, as young people are the key to building a prosperous and sustainable future. Over the last 5 years, beyond human capital development imperative, I have highlighted that my government has invested in people, creating opportunities for training, entrepreneurship, and job creation. We have successfully rolled out numerous innovations, including the Empowerment Fund, which provides seed money to entrepreneurs. 2, Youth Connect for various parts of the country, and people through enhancing their experience and skills, while their ideas initiatives. 3, establish agencies which provide direct employment for 1,000 young people nationwide. 4. Establish youth funds to support 10,000 youth people in agriculture and rural development. Establish fisheries, youth in fisheries initiative to engage 1,400 youth of children and promoting youth economic empowerment in coastal communities. And 6. The National Youth Service, which has trained and deployed over 1,523 youth people in various institutions across the country. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, all these human capital development gains will be eroded if we do not stop the illegal abuse by our youth that is alarmingly on the rise, causing aggravated physical and mental health related and crime problems among people. It is a clear and present danger to a future of promise for young people. My government has developed and validated a 5-year strategic master plan to fight against substance abuse and illicit drug trafficking in Syria. Additional investments have been made into the drug prevention and education. As we stand on the cusp of a new dispensation, there is no denying the urgency of the youth. Our youth are the vanguard of progress and innovation, the stand of hope and optimism in a world that can become dark and foreboding. They are the harbingers of change, of the future, and the driving force behind our nation's progress. The youth matter because they are the engine of our economy. They bring new ideas, fresh and an insatiable hunger for innovation that drives growth and prosperity. Because of new ideas and industries, disruptors of old models, and the agents of change that make our economy more diverse and competitive globally. Moreover, focusing on the youth is not just a matter of necessity, it's a matter of justice. It is an acknowledgement of the tremendous potential that lies within every young person, a recognition of the unique gifts and talents to the table. It is a commitment to ensuring that all our citizens, regardless of their age or background, have the opportunity to thrive and to feel their potential. But mostly, investing in the youth is an investment in human capital development. By equipping our youth with the skills, knowledge, and experience they need to succeed, we are building a better for them and a better future for us all. We are investing in our nation's prosperity, laying the foundation for a stronger, more resilient, and more vibrant sports. We have invested in sports. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, sport is a powerful tool to promote tolerance and solidarity. Football, like other sports, unites our people, and there is no better time than now to harness our young people to inspire unity in our nation. My government has been vindicated for its investment in sport over the last 5 years. We resolved administrative conflicts within and provided seed capital to restart the men's football Premier League. The league has become a major source of job creation and for developing a generation. Talent discovery and development has been the major gain of this investment. After an absence of 26 years since I took the key in 1996. Our national team qualified for the African Cup in 2021. In line with our administration's resolve for gender equality and women's empowerment, for the first time in the history of the country, Women for Premier League established and have just successfully with 12 teams and of course Mobile Queens FC from Bond District as the champion. Mr. Speaker, Honorable, our committed to ensuring this country's competitive development of all sports to promote youth economic empowerment. Sierra Leone's women's national cricket team, commonly known as Ladies Patriots, brought home the bronze medal in 2020 Women's T20 International Cricket Tournament in Lagos this month. Additionally, Sierra Leone has had regional successes in boxing, golf, wrestling, karate, and swimming, among others. The last 5 have been an era of sporting excellence in our nation, courtesy of the Sierra Leone People's Party. Climate change, Honorable Speaker, members of Parliament, the climate change is already being felt around the world. It threatens our food security and daily life. In response, we have no option but to scale up climate action. My government has therefore established a standalone Ministry of the Environment to bolster our national institutional and technical for responding to change and to strengthen national mitigation and adaptation strategy. Many solutions are within our reach. We are committed to working with international agencies and local stakeholders to implement just, affordable, and effective solutions to this existential threat. Gentlemen, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, international respectability. Sierra Leone is highly in the global community. The stigma of the past has been replaced with widespread respectability for our values, achievements, and leadership. To highlight some of the things we have received for our work, Sierra Leone has been endorsed by regional and continental bodies to the United Nations Security Council in the non-permanent category. Sierra Leone chairs the Continental Committee of C10 for the United Nations Security Council, and as I was unanimously elected to serve as chair of the African Peer Forum of Heads of State and Government. Peer review mechanism is the highest decision-making authority for the member states to voluntarily self-monitor their governance performance. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, in conclusion, honorable I believe in March 2019, Harvard Kennedy School of Government resolve to pursue it, whose record was hard to destroy. Scarce stereotypes about the gloomy traits of his history makes its choices grounded on democratic governance, accountability, and human capital development. 4 years asked Sudanese to judge me and my government on the concrete actions that we have taken to realize this bold vision. I'm proud that these actions already resulted in free quality education in this country, an improvement in women's empowerment, and bold actions to protect and promote women's rights. I'm proud that my government repealed laws and the death penalty. I'm proud that we have made huge strides in our national infrastructure, the access, and created renewed development and investor confidence. I'm humbled by the task that remains before us to achieve the new readiness, humbled yet energized to continue the leadership journey that we started second time. As we look forward to the future, be reminded of the words of Nelson Mandela, who said, and I quote, after one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. And I have already climbed together. We must continue. We have climbed many hills together. We must continue to do so with both resilience and the strength of our democratic institutions. Leading our beloved country is the greatest service any citizens can be entrusted with. It has been a privilege to lead Sierra Leone amid the unprecedented and turbulent economic times. My party, the greatest thing and the best thing that ever happened to Sierra Leone, the Sierra Leone people. I promise that I'm committed to serving with new vigor the next parliament, and I'm excited about the future of new possibilities for our nation. We have come a long way since Sierra Leone, since the Sierra Leone of the 1961. We have come a long way from 1961. Today we can only move forward. Today we have a growing population and modern technology that has improved the quality for all Sudanese. As your president, I've worked tirelessly to champion policies and initiatives that benefit all Sudanese. I will continue to do so until my last second in this office. upcoming elections, we must stand together, united in our commitment to upholding the Constitution and the democratic values of our nation. We must reject the centrifugal forces that seek to divide us and sow seeds of acrimony. Violence has no place in a democracy, and we must be watchful for those who profit from chaos and destruction. We must reject the convention. We must stand up for democracy. Let us campaign on our development record and embrace debate our development policies. We must oppose the national integration and unity and discourage discrimination, sex, religion, ethnic or linguistic association. Like every Sierra Leonean, I look forward to an inclusive, free, transparent, and election for 2040. Finally, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, as we celebrate our 62nd Independence Day, let us remember our democratic values: unity, freedom, and justice for all. Let us renew our commitment to these values and the rights of everyone. I wish a happy Independence Day in advance, and may God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, allow us all may God bless us all, our beloved country, Sierra Leone, in making her a great and prosperous nation. Thank you all.
invite I will now at this juncture invite the very sober-minded leader of this house to step forward, receive the address of His Excellency the President, and lay that on the table of the house.